probably not a bad idea.
That's right. Probably not about, yeah, because we were saying, when we all had to wear masks, none of us got colds
You're
either.
right. You're right.
Wasn't that
You're right.
amazing?
They're just healthier all around. Yep.
Give me a moment here. I'm going
Yep.
to try to see to change my camera. Okay. Change location.
Do you need your lamp over there?
What?
Do you need your lamp over there?
No.
Okay.
I am not doing any other notes today.
Okay. Someone coming for the call?
Yes.
I heard him jump upstairs.
So you've had a couple of weeks to meditate. What's happening? Anything? Any questions, concerns, revelations?
I had a question about as you're shifting the energy through the tendency, I thought, and I hope I'm right with this, I don't know, is that as you're on the forward weight, you're feeling more energy rising. The heel weight is more energy sinking.
Yep.
It's hard for us to hear you.
Oh, sorry. I'm asking about the energy shifting. So as your forward weight, I always thought that it was a rising energy,
Right?
and heel
Uh-huh.
weight is more of a sinking energy.
Yes.
And it surprised me when I went over my notes again that 1 is forward weight, but 2 is heel weight. Is that correct?
Yes. No. Two is also forward weight.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, wait a minute. I'm sorry. The weight does change in 1 and 2. That's part of the reason why that's not all just one number,
Okay.
one movement. It's 2 movements. So part of what that is to really encourage the sinking of the energy at the same time that there is rising energy. So talking about center to periphery movement as well as earth to heaven.
Okay.
Are you following that?
Kind of.
Okay.
Can you elaborate a little bit?
Sure. So as you're rising, as you're coming up there, where are you placing your weight?
Forward.
Okay.
Over bubbling room.
Okay. So you actually have those reversed.
Oh.
So as you're coming up on 1, you're towards the heel, so that you are stabilizing, dropping your energy, and raising energy at the same time. They're going in 2 directions.
Oh.
And then as you go to 2, the shift is towards the toe.
I've been doing it wrong.
Yeah, so it's reversed to what you were doing.
Okay.
And then middle weight in 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that felt right. The rising energy in 1. Okay, I'm gonna have to reverse that. I'm gonna have to
See, I think part of the reason why that's done that way is that if you shift forward in 1, you tend to lose the connection to the earth because you're placing the emphasis, everything is rising to a pretty extreme level.
Okay.
So by shifting to the heel on 1, you stabilize the movement.
Okay. Okay.
And then on 2, where the question with 2 always becomes, how do you keep extending?
Mm-hmm.
So part of that is shifting onto the toes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because that's where I kind of feel it's not really a dead spot, but it just doesn't feel as much flow kind of thing is what I'm starting
Yeah,
to think
it's, 2 is 2 is more difficult than we realize at first. Because our tendency is to lock the energy when we go to 2, to overdo it. And we have to be aware that as we're doing 1 and 2, one thing, we haven't really talked very much about the spine bend, but the spine does bend in the preparation, and then it extends not just to 1, but all the way through 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then it bends again in 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so our tendency is to get so extended in 1 that we have no place to go to in 2 except to lock.
Yep. And that's happening. Yeah, that's exactly.
So you have to have that awareness that 2 is continuing to extend.
Okay.
And part of it is that with 1, your extension is focused on the vertical, and on 2 is focused on the horizontal.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that help a little bit.
Yeah. It's gonna take some practice, but
It all does. Carol or Joanne, do you have questions?
No, but I do have a note for Linda, is that the list of the weight shift is the notes for class 21. Because I printed them out, so I reference them to make sure I'm still on point there with them. So I find things like that little things like that helpful.
Yeah.
I just happen to have them here in my little pile as you were talking. So.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, that can help. Anything for you, Carol?
No, I'm just smiling because I did exactly the same thing as you did, Joanne. I printed that and actually had my crib notes with me when I was practicing that for a while.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, when we were learning the long form, Adam and I think, had both figured out that we had printed it out, enlarged it, and had it on the wall.
I think a lot of us go through that stage.
Yeah.
Good. So I talked last time in regard to heaven and earth about bend and extend. And that, to begin with, that's fairly simple. Did anybody have further questions about that?
No.
In particular, I mean, it's still, a learning process, but I don't have any specific questions about it.
Okay. the um, one of the difficulties um, is managing to get the movement to be continuous,
Uh-huh.
because we tend to get to one point and then do another, and then do
Mm.
another,
Uh-huh.
um, and and the with all the things that we work on, whether it's breathing or even meditation, our intention is to get the energy to move continuously. And so one of the ways that we do that is having all these um, 16 Negong, which we haven't really talked about in this class, but I'll mention it. They're actually considered to be 16 internal components to everything that we do.
Mm.
Um, we won't try to necessarily go through all 16 by any means, but there are some basic ones that really make a difference. So, um, breathing is really the first one. Um, and actually, I guess I did want to know how you feel you're coming with your breathing. Are you breathing into your sides? Are you able to breathe into lower or mid back? Um, where are you with your breathing?
I can feel a breathing into my sides and my back.
Where in your back?
Lower. I'm trying to work it a little higher, but it's more in the low back.
Yeah. So when we in this when we talk about low back, we're talking about clear at the base of the spine.
Okay, so then maybe mid back is where.
And that's kind of interesting to really focus on breathing into that um, very low back position, because we don't think of that as being part of or really related to the breathing. And it's an important piece too. When you go to mid back, you want to breathe into the mid back, but your focus really becomes the kidneys, because our primary energy is stored in the kidneys, and so that becomes a really important part of the breathing, is to make sure that you are breathing into the kidneys and out.
So I just maybe a clarification. So when I think of breathing, I've not thought about it as necessarily breathing into the lower back. But we have talked in this class or another, or many others, um, of breathing in, and it, with the organs moving towards the back. So I think that's what I think of when I think of breathing into the back. But I feel like I have a good handle on breathing up into the kidneys, up my back, because we've done a lot of work on that in other classes.
Yep.
I have done a lot of work on that in other classes, but maybe a little more clarification about breathing into the lower back.
So, so you can feel an expansion and contraction of the breath with the breath in that very low back area. It does not move like the mid back or like the abdomen does. That's no question. But you can really feel it energetically.
Yep.
And it is important because for a couple of reasons. For one thing, you're actually eventually breathing into the entire body.
Mm-hmm.
So that includes legs and arms and
Yeah.
head, all of it, so that your breath connects to the earth and to the heavens, as part of the energy movement. And So it is important because that low back area connects to the perineum and the qua, and therefore into the legs and down to the earth. So the low back and the perineum are places where we often tend to block the energy between the legs and the torso. So it is kind of important to at least be aware that you can do that, as well as breathing into the kidneys. Carol?
No, I'm just thinking back to an earlier class, David, with you in this session where you actually had us concentrating on the liver and the spleen, and you know how helpful that was when I actually put my intent there. And I think that I just haven't been looking at my breathing in that way for a while.
Mhm.
So I think I need to kind of get back to that again.
Yeah. You, one of the ways to focus on the breathing is to focus on the organs. So to focus
Is
on
to focus a little louder, David. Focus on
the organs. So focusing on spleen and liver, um, when you breathe into this, as part of breathing into the sides, and of course breathing into the kidneys, and then really important because we don't. Another area we don't really think about is breathing into the upper back, because you remember that with longevity breathing, with Taoist breathing, we don't want to expand the chest when we breathe. The chest stays still. We expand the back. And eventually that movement of the back is massaging the heart and the lungs. So you're breathing into the heart and the lungs with the upper back, and that helps you to develop breathing fully into the lungs, because most of us breathe into about half of the lungs, and we don't breathe into the entirety of the lungs. We don't take advantage of the capacity that we have. So focusing on the organs is one way to do it. I mean, you can simply focus on feeling the expansions in each of the areas, and that's important. But then if you can bring your intent to the organs, then you really begin to bring fresh energy into the organ that you're focusing on, and releasing the used energy. So that's another part of the practice ultimately. Yeah. Did that answer your question, Joanne? Are you there, Joanne?
yes.
Did that answer your question?
Oh yes. Sorry, I didn't hear that part of it. Yes, I thought you were talking Linda. Yes,
Sorry if I didn't speak up enough.
that's okay. It could also just be my ears after a week of a cold.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'd like you to do is to stand and do a 10 rep heaven and earth, and see if you can try to bring awareness to some of these things we've talked about this morning. That was very nice. It's real. I I see the practice and improvement. That's good. Um, I think one thing, just a couple of things I would say. Carol, one of the things for you to be a little more aware of, I think, is bringing the elbows in to the sidelines. Um, your tendency is to leave the elbows out as you go up rather than letting them drop. So the whole arm twists in as you're going up. And when you go to this point, ideally you don't push the elbows back,
Right.
but indeed you are extending further, but don't push them back to where you
Mm,
begin to close the shoulder.
Okay.
And then going into three is another place where the elbows can come into the sidelines. Um, so I think that's
Okay.
an element for you to be aware of.
So it's basically from 1 to 2, David, correct? Going
Well,
when
one,
I,
two, and three.
okay, got it.
Um,
Yeah,
Joanne,
I do.
I'm sorry.
No, but I see that now that you pointed that out. I was not even concentrating on that. Thank you.
Yeah. Um, Joanne, you're doing very nicely, I have to say. It looked quite good to me. I think the only comment I would make is that to be really aware that you're not letting the shoulders lift.
uh-huh.
Um, it's a little hard for me to see on Zoom, but but it looked to me a couple of times, a couple of places that your shoulders were getting more into the movement that they needed to.
Okay.
Um, or Linda, that's her name. I haven't known her very long. um, in the two things, one is I felt like you never really came back to a base level as you came up.
Mm.
That you were staying a little crouched
Okay.
into it. So just that's really something you have to feel
Mm.
because you're tall, and so your positions are going to be different than anyone else's.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you went into three, it starts very well until you get to this point, and then your body stops, or sometimes even goes up a little. So remembering that this is a continuing to sink and then rise.
Okay.
Okay,
Uh-huh. Okay.
good. Questions?
David, I'm trying the corrections you just gave me. Can you just show me the going into 3? I feel like if I'm bringing my elbows to midline, I'm scrunching it, and it feels like I would be cutting off the energy. Do you know what I mean? So can you show
Um,
me what that looks like? I'm not sure how far to bring my elbows into the midline.
so one of the things I would say is that um, um, bringing the elbows to the not to the midline, to the
Mhm.
sidelines,
To the sidelines. Got
yeah,
it.
is can to some extent, in depending on the posture, the position, uh, on how open your body is stretched. So if so here's the Um, maybe not yet. So if coming in to here, my elbows on the sidelines,
Right?
tightens instead of simply making the energetic connection. So you have to feel. It could be that as you do this, that you get to a point where that's beginning to lock up.
Yeah.
So it may simply be that you don't have the relaxed flexibility in there to go to the sidelines yet. So don't so the answer to that would be remember the 70% rule.
Right. Right.
So yes, this is the ideal, but if this is 100% or 110, um, then you may need to back off a little for a while.
Yeah, I think what I was doing, David, is I think I misunderstood and I was trying to go to the midline with it.
No,
Oh,
And
no, no, no.
and that's why I felt it was crunching. But if it's the sidelines, no, that's very comfortable.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because you're endeavoring to connect with that energy that's flowing up and down through the sidelines of the body, the side
Oh.
channels.
And the chest should be open in that movement, correct?
In the re
Or is it uh yeah, in terms of what should the chest and the scapula feel like in that movement coming down from three?
So the chest is never closed. I
Right.
guess I would say. Um, we haven't really worked on the spine stretch, but you never want to let the chest or the midriff collapse. There's a difference between um, bending the spine with an extension in both directions and collapsing into that bend. So um, we we can come back to this another time where we can really focus on this. But um, you want actually there is a continual desire that basically you are aware of that extension. I mean, it goes in both directions. That's true, but it never collapses.
Okay.
That's one of those things that's a little I can understand is a little difficult to grasp right away. Um, but it is really important because if you let the chest collapse or you let the midriff collapse, you immediately impair the flow of the energy through both the side and central channel and the acupuncture channels in the body.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, sure. Anything for you?
Just standing here while you're talking, working on that thing, I have a feeling that's why I wasn't doing as much because I'm trying not to overextend,
Mm-hmm.
but I've gone too far. No, I'm not doing much movement at all. So yeah, just feeling that whole bend and stretch,
Yeah.
but the extension as I'm bending, I think is what I need to kind of think about. I think that might
Yeah.
help me through the movements.
Yeah, that balances it.
Yeah, yeah, because I think I'm overcompensating.
Yeah, good. So let's sit. So I'm not going to add anything into our thinking today. I would really like to just have you do a very basic outer dissolving meditation. Letting yourself just have a period of time here when, through quietness and intention, you can really continue to work on beginning to feel any blockages, any of those four conditions in the body, and what it feels like to dissolve them, and what is the response in the body when you do dissolve them. How do you feel that? There is, it's, we talk about concentrating first on ice to water until we feel a change. And sometimes that change is extremely subtle, and sometimes it's really right out there. But keeping open to any change, because sometimes the subtle is the best that's possible at that moment. And then water to gas, really trying to allow yourself to feel the flow through the body, because it's flowing out through through the channels that we've just been working on opening up. So making sure that you don't, when you do release water to gas, that you don't tighten up anything, to continue to allow that flow to occur. So let us sit for a little bit. best as you can where you are and begin to close. Sending all benefit gained from this practice out to help all the sentient creatures of the universe. Any last minute thoughts or questions?
Mhm.
Thank you very much. Nice class.
Thank you. Good class.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
See you
Good to
next week,
see you all.
everyone. Yep.
Take care.
Take
Yep.
care,
See you
everyone.
next week.
Yep. Bye-bye.